welcome to the Genre of Your Life podcast, a show all about movies, TV, and why we love entertainment, episode number 21. I am one of your hosts and the creators of the show, Doug Jones. With me, as always, are my incredible co-hosts. I guess you would say my Mission Impossible task force was an IMF, right? Mission Impossible, but no, Possible Mission Force. That's what it is.
Yes, sir.
Starting with Mr. Nick Johnson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Feeling super happy to be here. Really excited about this.
Me too, man. Last but not least, the one, the only Mr. Joel Kindelin. How's it going, Joe?
Going all right. Been just trying to, power through the abusiveness of life. So, yeah. Sorry. That was not okay.
Start off strong, Joe.
Right. As always.
As always.
Hey, man, life got hands, all right? so, what am I going to say? But yeah, no, I'm doing all right. Jokes aside, I'm doing all right.
Well, glad you all are here. Glad you all are here too, to our audience. As always, guys, you can find the show on your favorite podcast platform service, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. While you're there, hit that follow, subscribe button. Leave a review and rating helps us out, helps the show tremendously. As always, guys, thank you so much for your support. As well, we're posting the show on YouTube, which is really cool. It's the audio version of the show. So if you're on YouTube, scrolling through midnight or just during the day, you want to put on the background, you can find our YouTube, our podcast on YouTube, our YouTube page, which is also at Midway Avenue Productions, as well as our social medias, Instagram and TikTok, which is also at Midway Avenue Productions. Our website's up and running as well, too, www.midwayavenueproductions.com. And we have a very, very cool announcement that I'll announce on the show right now. Our lovely and wonderful friends at Frost Communications out here in Phoenix have given us tickets, advanced screening VIP tickets to our Phoenix listeners for the upcoming comedy movie Strays with Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx. If you're in the Phoenix area, you're in luck. We're going to have 3 upcoming screenings for this movie. The first is going to be July 26th at 7 p.m., August 2nd at 7 p.m., and August 9th at 7 p.m. Nick and I will be going to the critic screening, which is also on August 9th, so you might see me and Nick there at that screening. If you want RSVP for this, great. Go to our website, again, midwayavenueproductions.com. Go to the screening link. Go to that link. Click the poster for Strays. I'll bring you to a Google RSVP form, fill out all your information. You bring up to one guest. You can pick one screening. Again, we have 3 days coming up. And at the very bottom, it'll say, how did you hear about this opportunity? Make sure to put us, Midway Avenue Productions, or the Genre of Your Life podcast. Or go to our Instagram page, hit that link tree in our bio, same thing. The first link in that link tree will be a Google form sheet. Click that. Fill all information out again, and we will hope to see you guys at the movies. I hope you enjoyed the movie, guys. It looks really funny. Jamie Foxx, Will Ferrell are just 2 funny guys in Hollywood. It's like a hard R-rated comedy about like dogs who, one gets left by his owner. The guy goes back to get revenge while they're stray dogs. So it looks funny. It's Phil Lord, Chris Miller are producing it. Guys who did Cocaine Bear, Jump Street, Spider-Verse. So they have a lot of good comedic chops coming up. So we hope you guys see you at the movie, guys. And as always, enjoy the film. All righty. With that being said, before we get into our main topics tonight, boys, let's talk about this real quick. I think this summer has been the summer of the mid movies, a summer of not good box office. Because holy shit, it has been flop after flop after flop after flop. Minus, I think Fast and Spider-Verse are the 2 kind of like, and maybe Guardians as well put up there, are the 3 kind of like movies that kind of just came out at the early midst of summer and had really good like both domestic and international box office. But once we got to Flash and once we got to Indy, Transformers, what in the hell is going on? I don't know. I feel like we are definitely post-COVID now. A year ago, or 2 years ago, we would be dying for a movie like Indiana Jones or The Flash. It would be like, hey, return to the movies. But now it's like these big, first off, these big budget, $250, $300 million plus movies are opening up to nearly 50 to 60 mil domestically opening weekend. And again, if this was maybe 10, 15 years ago, that would be okay. But we live in an era of when a Spider-Man movie, both animated and live action, are opening up to 120 mil or $260 million worldwide opening weekend in the US. it's to me, it's like what's going on? I mean, Nick, what do you think's been going on with this kind of just like summer of just flops? I mean, it's crazy, right?
It's insane. Like, honestly, I'm with you. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I have noticed a bit of a pattern in the past few years, like as far as movies go. Like, it seems like the quality has just generally been kind of declining. I don't know. It kind of seems, I don't know if they're just like it's tough. So for Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
Without giving anything away, I'll say this with Indiana Jones and with The Flash, without giving anything away, there were certain points in each of those movies where it seemed like something was either left out or like reshot at a certain point. Like with The Flash is kind of easier to make that assumption with because we know there's that whole shakeup with James Gunn and the DCU. So the original script clearly had to change and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, with Indiana Jones, something like Indiana Jones, I can't totally put my finger on it. It seemed like maybe there was a different version of the ending and they tested it out with audiences and they're like, I don't know, I think I kind of want something a little bit happier. And then they changed the ending to kind of like fit within that want for more of a happier ending. I don't know, man. Like, it kind of just seems like either Hollywood or like the writers or whatever, maybe it's just less effort kind of being put in.
Yeah, I could see that. It's a good point. The effort, I believe, is definitely a big part. I agree with you 100% on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is what I've been kind of hearing about from like other podcasts and reading articles left and right.
Mm-hmm.
I think again, I don't want to put the blame on this. We're all pro theatrical, but in a way now, I think streaming has kind of like trained audiences to be like, oh, I'll be out in digital in 2 or 3 weeks. Cool, I'll just wait for it. Because again, now, excuse me, the rise of 4K televisions and great picture quality and IMAX enhanced on Disney Plus, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of COVID too, the theatrical window got shortened unless you're a James Cameron, Chris Nolan, Tom Cruise, whatever. So a movie like, give me an example, The Flash could be on digital tomorrow, basically. I think tomorrow, or maybe Saturday, I want to say. Less than a month after it came out, which is crazy. Back in the day, it would have been like 3 months in theaters and then get pulled. No, it's gonna be on streaming this. I think maybe this weekend. I want to say. Again, look at Avatar 2. Avatar 2 came out on digital like 5 or 6 months after the movie came out in December, and it was still playing in theaters till like March, which is crazy. I think COVID definitely, I would say for sure, is part of it. But I think audiences now are trained to just wait 2-3 weeks. I mean, look at Fast. Again, I saw this last year with Universal. I was very confused by this, but Fast was already on streaming 2 weeks after we saw it at the screening. Joe, Nick, like you and I saw Fast 10 like a week before the movie came out. It was on streaming.
Was 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, it's already on.
Oh,
rented on Apple TV or VOD. I'm like, what? I'm like, we just saw the screening of it like 2 weeks ago. Like, what the heck? I was what?
I wonder if part of the reason is maybe like, because I was talking with my roommate about this the other day. Like, movies, like the whole streaming experience, it's a lot more comfortable and it's a lot more convenient than going out to the movies. Now, my thing is, I love going to the movies. I love that experience. I love that atmosphere. But I do kind of see what he means, where it's like, well, if you can just stream it at home, why would you go out to the movies? You can just kind of chill out in the jammies, eat whatever you got in the fridge, and you can pause it, play it whenever you feel like it. And so it's like, yeah, maybe. And I think maybe because of COVID, it just kind of fed into that whole thing. Like, let me just watch as many of these movies as I can from the comfort of my own home.
Yeah. Joe, I mean, Joe, I see you, Joe. What do you think about all this? Like,
I'm. There's a lot of things that play into this. Movies flopping and people not wanting to go into movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like some of the main things is that movies are not enticing people anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From the trailers to the writing to the constant need for CGI. Like a lot of movies you see nowadays, you're just like, this gave me this type of movie feel, or like, oh, I already saw this movie before last year when this movie came out. You know what I mean? Where
Hmm.
it's like there's no creativity in it right now. We are still in the, oh my god, like we're still in the era of like, let's bring back these old movies. So, like, some of them were okay, some of them were really good, some were okay, majority of them were shit. You know what I mean? Like, did E.T. ever came out? I remember
Oh,
them.
that remake.
Yeah, where
I
he's
think it got
older and
scrapped.
E.T. Yeah, because
I think
no
it
one
got
wanted to see it.
scrapped.
No one wanted to see it, and we talk about that a lot. And then just our heavy reliance on CGI. CGI is great, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti CGI. What I'm saying is that there's too much CGI in things. And a lot of things, when you want to see a movie, a lot of movies have way too much jokes in it or comedy, and
Hmm.
you're just like, I don't, this isn't like the movie I was hoping to see. Like, I get, friends talking, joking back and forth, but there's way too much comedy in every type of movie, whether it's a horror movie, thriller movie, drama. Like, there's always some sort of type of comedy in it where you're just like, this isn't a movie where I wanted to come and laugh constantly. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, a lot of the issues are that the people aren't getting enticed by these movies, from originally from trailers. You see a trailer, you're like, all right, cool. And then you see five fucking more that shows the whole movie, and then you wait till it comes out on digital, you watch it, and you're like, yeah, they show the whole movie in trailers, you know?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, dude.
if you went to go see movies, and then the writing's really bad. Writing's really bad. It really is, and I whether it's the writing was shit from the get-go, or production, or whatever, they changed it up as the movie was going, and they took elements out, or what I mean. Like, nowadays, I feel like there's a lot more movies where they throw things in it and have no explanation. It was just there. That's it. You know what I mean? It's I don't know if you guys ever saw it. What's that fucking movie? James Franco made a movie of that movie. The what was it?
Oh, Disaster
The
Artist.
Disaster Artist. In the
Yeah,
movie,
me and
like,
Nick saw that
if
in
you
college.
ever,
Yeah, together. Yeah,
yeah,
Hmm.
well, the actual movie when they
The
showed it,
Room.
like, so the actual movie that
The
was,
Room.
the room,
Yeah.
he has this thing where the girlfriend's mom says, "I have breast cancer. It might be terminal," and then they never bring it up again. And like a lot of fans of that movies like talk about it, like, she just said that and it's never brought up again. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's this random little thing where you're like, what
Yeah.
the fuck was that? You know what I mean? Where you're just like, there's no explanation. So, like, I feel like movies are at this point just so discombobulated with so much shit, whether it's
Yeah.
way too much in it, not enough explained, or just overall just like it's everywhere. And
Hmm.
there's no,
Yeah.
like, with old movies, like, it's like they were more concrete. Like, even back in the day, they explained just little shit where you're just like, all right, cool, you know. Not every movie, but there were a lot of those movies, and the same with trailers. Like, they didn't, they kept you interested, but they didn't show the whole fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, bring back the dude that used to do the fucking, movie trailers, like, coming this
In a
summer, like,
world.
fucking,
In a
yeah. Like,
world.
bring him back. He's
Yeah.
still alive. He's on TikTok right now. Yeah.
Oh, word? Yeah.
Yeah, he is on TikTok. Yeah. He does his voice and everything. Uh,
He did the
but
Mission Impossible trailer. He goes, this past we saw trailer, it was like so many holy shit moments. He swore, and I was like, I never heard him swear before. And I'm like, that's a first. I was like, wow, times have
That's
changed.
great. That's so great. But overall, like, I feel like we add, like, we just need to dumb it down.
Hmm.
Like, the movie can be intricate. There's no problem with that. But we need to
Yeah.
dumb it down when it comes to the writing, to, the film itself, and to the trailers. when it comes to film, like there's a lot of movies that are just way too much information, and you're just like, dude, I did not want to try to fucking do a research paper. A lot of people go to movies not to think, to just enjoy the craziness. Yeah, they think like, oh my God, like who's the killer and this and blah blah blah. But if it becomes way too much to where you're just like, dude, way too much information. You know what I mean? It's always like the argument of kids go to school for 8 hours, we learn so many subjects, and we're studying and we're constantly learning these things. How are you going to retain it? It's the same way. You know what I mean? Like with like, and one of those examples is Batman versus Superman movie. They put way too much shit into one movie, and people weren't able to keep up, or people were just like, dude, it's too long, it's too boring. You know what I mean? Whereas like, I love Ben Affleck as Batman, but he had never had time to shine because they were just putting so much in, and then he eventually just became a side character. You know?
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm gonna let Nick, because that's one of Nick's favorite, and Nick has justified this movie, and I think I understand that movie more now thanks to Nick. And again, remember he said, "Doug, you know, what's the Ultimate Edition?" I was like, "Oh, what's the Ultimate Edition?" And I texted him like, "Bro, you're fucking right. This was definitely if you watch the BVS, the Ultimate Edition, it's a better movie. It's a better paced movie, if you ask me, and it feels like a fuller movie. I mean, I think theatrical still has moments of like really cool moments. I mean, don't get me wrong, but if you do watch the 3-hour rated R Ultimate cut on Blu-ray or HBO, on Max, whatever, you'll see a movie that has more, not congruent, but like more consistency, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you,
which is great. Like I didn't hate the movie because remember, Doug, we saw that, and you and the boys hated it. Y'all were just like, nah.
I was like, I didn't hate it as much as like our other friends did. I was like, oh, this was cool.
Yeah,
it was cool. I like what they're going for, but then I heard
but
things.
You didn't like it, and I told you watch it again and pay attention to Ben Affleck and just like. And I told you, I was like, what they should have did was they should have cut this movie in two parts. You know what I mean? Instead of Batman versus Superman or something, they could have done a Batman movie introducing their feud and then do the Batman versus Superman, because there's so much information within it, just so much that they had to rush through in the theatrical version, at least. I haven't seen the alternate, but
I'm not even mad at that idea, okay? Because like hindsight is kind of 2020. I think for that particular scenario, I would have done not to like completely bite off of Marvel, but kind of like what Marvel did. You got like Man of Steel, and then you do Man of Steel 2. And then you do a Batman movie, and you make it seem like, holy shit, we're leading up to BVS, to Batman v Superman. So you do that Batman movie, and then after the solo Batman movie, because it's his perspective on the whole thing, like you would have it where he's fighting just whatever Gotham villain, but you can totally tell that like Superman and everything like that is still on his mind. But then after that, then you do BVS, and it's like this is the final. This is like that ultimate fight. And then after BVS, then you start teasing Justice League and blah blah blah. But Joel, to your point, and kind of because I've seen this a little bit with the theatrical edition of BVS. I think maybe a little bit with Indiana Jones and maybe the Flash. Like I feel like movies have kind of just become more of a product. Let's put this thing out that we know audiences are at the very least going to see, then we can make money off of it. Like they're not focused so much on the story. Like with James Gunn with Volume 3, with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it was a successful movie, but it was so successful because he focused on the story. He focused on the characters, and we had like kind of going on that journey with them. So it was a more impactful movie. Basically, it was a film. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like that with BVS with the theatrical edition. Because it was like, you know, Zack Snyder's like, hey guys, I have this 3-hour version of the movie, and Warner Brothers like, nah, let's cut it down to like 2.5 hours. They were making it more of a product than an actual film. Because Doug, like you said, when you watch the Ultimate Edition, not even just with BVS, but with his Justice League too, like each of those,
which was so good, so much better.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Like each of those versions where you really see exactly what Snyder was trying to do, and the story that he was trying to tell. Both times, you know, you enjoyed the movie more. You get more out of it, and it's like, dang, you know, it's kind of interesting. Like you get to see more of the characters more of their arcs, more of their emotional development. You kind of got the theatrical version of BVS, but again, it was cut down, and you for damn sure did not get that with the 2017 Justice League movie.
Hell no.
Man,
Right. Yeah. No, that was so bad. And
that shit was straight
like,
dookie, bruh.
and the Flash wasn't better. And like you
I would say,
said, like the Flash.
I would say the Flash was a bit better than the Justice League we got. I would. I mean,
Well, yeah, the Justice League.
visual effects
But
wise,
when it
no.
comes to the visual effect wise, no. But the character himself, like they had that character development of like his issues. But as a character himself, he was a joke throughout the whole entire movie. Honestly. Because they made him the comedy relief through it all instead of showing who the Flash really was. Like he's the Joker, not the joke. He's the jokester of the Justice League, but he's a very serious character, and I feel like they took away a lot from him doing the way that they showed him as. You know what I mean? I felt like it was way too much comedy for the Flash to where it's like I couldn't take him seriously. Like the people who stole the show was Michael Keaton and I forget her name.
Sasha
Kaye.
Sasha Kaye.
Oh, yeah.
They stole that show right away. If they weren't in the movie, it might have not have been so well, honestly.
And that's my thing, man. I mean, before I get into my review for Mission, it just to me, I feel like we're coming to an end now of summer. After Oppenheimer, after Barbie, we really had nothing coming out. We have Ninja Turtles and Blue Beetle, but I just don't think Blue Beetle's gonna have. Just again, I think
that wow factor,
right? And I think with DC kind of shot himself in the foot of like no one cares because again everyone knows it's gonna be rebooted like soon enough, and no one really. I think they shot themselves in the foot with right when Black Adam was coming out because James Gunn the same weekend that movie came out, James Gunn got announced to be fucking the head of DC, and I was like that was a bad move because you had at the time you had Shazam 2, Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman. You have 4 films. And as soon as that Shazam movie had a huge flop that weekend, I said, y'all shut yourself in the foot because you guys announced this huge plan of reboot, and the audiences don't care now because they're not invested because they know there's going to be a reboot coming. So why should they invest in these characters when we all know they're going to be rebooted? That was stupid on their part.
And also, I blame production. Back to the main topic at hand. Like, production is being so heavy-handed on movies, and that really shows throughout a lot of movies. Like you said with Zack Snyder, is that they came down and they got in the way. You know what I mean? Where it's just like they're being a helicopter parent, not letting their child run free and experiencing these things, and you know what I mean? Where it's like, no, you can't do this. No, you can't go jump because I don't want you to go get hurt. Blah blah blah. Like they're so scared of these movies flopping and everything that they decide to not trust the writers, to not trust the directors and actors and everything, that they change so much to where they're where they're causing the pain to their child. They're the ones that are hurting their child. The movies aren't doing as well, So
and also to add your point, Joe. Go ahead.
I think what we need is production to step back. For movies to not be so to go back to finding new actors more often, because we see a lot of the same actors in a lot of these big movies to where we're just like, okay, they're doing another character. Oh, okay, they're doing another character. Where it's like we need new people doing movies and to somehow get creativity back into the movies. You know what I mean? I shared on my Instagram, not the one that public knows about, but my personal Instagram of Samuel Jackson talking about anime. He says anime is the best story. They have the best stories ever because they're so creative. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, you can do a lot with animation, but that doesn't mean that you can't look at anime and just think like, okay, like anime's been around for so long and they're still doing so many new things, and just creativity is so amazing, like like One Piece and so many more, where it's like you can get these crazy like get creativity from these things and put it into our own movies. You know what I mean? We're not being creative. We're just bringing a lot of old shit back.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And to add one more thing before we cap this part of the show off, it's I think another thing too is that I think they're spending way too much money on these movies. Like, come on now. Like, they spent 300 mil on Indiana Jones. 300 mil before marketing and advertising. They spent almost 300 mil on The Flash, which is, I don't know where that money went to personally. And then they spent $300 million on, I was going to say, oh, no, they spent almost $400 million on Fast. And me and Nick both enjoyed a lot of Fast for sure. I think, again, the first month of the summer had better movies with the Spider-Verse and Fast and Guardians. But they're spending so much money on these movies. They're not making the returns that they used to get. And I think, again, which is crazy. We said at the beginning of the show is that, again, if this was like a year or two ago, we would have ate this shit up. Like, oh my god, finally movies are back in theaters. This is like finally. But now it's like they're spending so much money. And today people are mad at Bob Iger today for numerous reasons. I think we said kind of true. He goes, it's oversaturation now of our own content. And I was like, yeah, bro, we've been saying that for almost a year or two now. It's quality over quantity. And I think now we're really in a thing. I think also because of COVID too was that we had nothing going on. We had shows, movie on streaming, whatever. But now since we're out of it, we're returning to like the normal box office flow for sure. But again, they're spending an absurd amount of money on movies that are not performing well. And what's your next call? Spend the same much money on the next movie? No, you should rethink about. I mean, look this past week example. Dude, Insidious, a movie that got panned critically very poorly, got really bad reviews. Not bad reviews, but like pretty reviews. That movie took, in the second week of Indiana Jones, that Insidious made more money than Indiana Jones in the second weekend. And Insidious already made back its production budget back in one weekend with the opening of like 35 mil, I want to say. I mean, again, Blumhouse has been doing this for years. Blumhouse is the low budget, high concept, low budget, which is a very smart method to have because you have these good ideas. You can keep it more grounded, more professional, have a low budget, and you have good returns. But if you're telling me a Insidious movie franchise that kind of have gone down a lot, if you ask me, in the past few movies, still made more money than Indiana Jones. I mean, Crystal Skull made $100+ million opening weekend. It came out 15 years ago, and that's crazy that now Indiana Jones probably be another huge flop weekend this weekend when Mission Impossible comes out this weekend. So it's just to me that if you think you're gonna get all these returns back, you should focus more on the quantity than the quality, and then spending all this money on these big budget stuff because at the end of the day, you're not showing results. You're getting flops. And it's, to me, I think Disney, I think all the studios need to do this, especially reevaluate what they're going to do moving forward for their movies, because they cannot continue to keep spending all this money on movies that are constantly underperforming. And again, I think a year ago we were like, oh my gosh, next summer, Flash, Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, Transformers, holy crap, this is summer, a packed full summer. And now we're seeing every week these terrible drop-offs, these terrible opening week numbers. These movies are literally leaving theaters, going on streaming next week. Or it's like, what happened? It's you can't expect to win every time when you're doing the same results. It's plain and simple. But again, we'll see what happens, right? I mean, it's just gonna be now with both strikes going on. I think everyone needs to reevaluate all their shit. I think everyone step back, focus on quality content. If you ask me. You got to focus on quality content. You got to focus on, okay, how do we tell a good story that, to your point, Joe, we're not showing too much in the trailer. We're not showing too much in advertising. We're not showing too much on this, whatever. Keep it back a little bit. And also, you don't have to spend millions of dollars on marketing. I feel like those marketing budgets and funds can go back into either the quality of your movie or keeping sure that, hey, we're not going to be spending all this money, but it's crazy. But Nick, before you hop off, my friend, first things first. Top 5 radar comedies and your favorite Tom Cruise movie.
So my top 5 favorite comedies in no particular order are Due Date Friday, Tropic Thunder,
Good one.
Kick-Ass and Sausage Party. Sausage Party was I knew that it was gonna be like raunchy, but I didn't realize how far they were gonna go. So that was a fun surprise. Kick-Ass was kind of cool. It was cool because like I'm a comic book nerd, so like as a kid, I was like, man, like it would be cool to be a comic book like hero, superhero, something like that. So to see someone actually kind of go out and do it, yeah, he got part of my language. He got like really fucked up when he did it, but it's like, you know what,
Huge.
you gotta give that character props. And it was Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think he's a cool actor.
Before he blew up.
He blew up, yeah. And Tropic Thunder was cool. It was funny, man. It's star-studded cast, and you know, I'm a movie fan, so it's kind of cool to see the whole. It was like a satire almost. So I thought that was pretty cool. Friday, man, it's a classic. It's a classic. You don't even got to say nothing about that. And then Due Date was just hilarious. But my favorite Tom Cruise movie. I'm gonna have to go with Mission Impossible Fallout. Like I love the Mission Impossible franchise and Fallout because I saw that in theaters with my mom, bro. It had me on the edge of my seat. You got Tom Cruise, obviously, fucking Angela Bassett, Henry Cavill. You know that's my boy. And just the stunts. It was like everything that they did in this movie. They're like, we kind of got to up the ante. So I love that. I'm super excited for Dead Reckoning, man. Holy guacamole.
You're in for a treat. You're in for
Yeah,
a treat. I'll say that.
Man. Yes, sir. I can't wait.
All right, my boy. Well, again, man. Again, I know you gotta hop off, but before you go too, where can they find you on the socials?
You guys can find me on YouTube, Dawning Vision, capital D, capital V, and the Instagram is the same name. It's all lowercase, one single word at Dawning Vision. You can find us, like I said, YouTube, Instagram, and anywhere you can listen to podcasts. And yeah.
All right, brother. We will see you next week, my friend.
All right, I'll see you guys next week. Love you guys. Peace.
Right. Love you, brother. Peace.
Doses.
Oh man. Nick will be missed. He's gone too early. But yeah, guys, again, follow Nick on those socials. Again, also watch his award-winning film, man. Nick and Jake, his roommate, Dawning Vision, they did a great job with the short film. You know, we won a bunch of awards. And again, talk about quality content. Again, Nick really had a great. They made a great video for literally no budget, and it looks fantastic. I mean, again, for a movie that had literally like no CGI, nothing, it really looks great. So if you want to see his movie, I really recommend watching it on YouTube. Again, it's called Who Are You? Yeah, it has over 20,000 views, guys. It's a really good film. They put a lot of hard work to win a bunch of awards. So go support our boy and support his short film because it's really special. Alrighty, so before Joe and I do our top 5 comedies in our favorite Tom Cruise movie, I'm going to review the movie of the week that everyone's been waiting for. The movie's going to save the summer box office, Joel. This is the one. It's going to save the summer box office from a really terrible summer of mid-movies and bad box office performances. Because you know what, man? Tom Cruise did it last year, Top Gun Maverick. That movie was number 3, top 3 movies every week in that summer, and it was crazy that movie kept making more money every week. And I'm like, that's crazy.
I will say this: there's right, which is Tom Cruise might be fucking nuts, but he I love you, Tom Cruise, if you're ever listening to this. He might be fucking nuts, but he really does care about the movies that he does. He really does.
And the audience.
Like, he cares about the audience. He cares about the crew and everything. Like, remember that audio of him yelling at the crew, at people not wearing masks during COVID when they were shooting movies. You know, like, he really does care about everything about it. Like, he has true passion as an actor and, you know, everything that he does. And so, you know, it's just, you know, it's crazy. You know, he's like our American Jackie Chan. You know, he's white. But so you know, true. He does. Yeah, he does his own stunts. He's old as hell. He still does his own stunts. You know, but yeah, no, he truly does care, and he cares about the story, how everything plays out, how it looks. He puts his whole heart and soul into it. which
Oh,
his films
100%.
are always doing so amazing. Even when he's a side character, and it's just like, yeah, just be a little bit wacky, you know, like in Tropic Thunder. He put his whole fucking heart in it.
Yeah,
You know, he
for
made that
sure.
character, you know, so real, so amazing. So, you know, like again, just overall, like I never like when I see a Tom Cruise movie, I'm just like, oh, okay, nice. You know, like they're not always the movies I'll run to. You know, like I know you love Tom Cruise movies more than I do. You know, but I do love Tom Cruise movies. I think they're great, and I never really have a doubt of like, oh, will this be good? You know, it always surprises me when like you know you might go see a movie before me and you'll tell me like, oh, that one wasn't really good. It's like, oh, really? I'm
Oh yeah,
surprised. You know?
the Mummy remake. Oh
The
my god, that
Mummy
movie was
remake was
so
yeah,
ass.
which I still haven't seen to this day.
God, dude. I texted you. I was like, "Don't see this movie." You go noted. You went noted.
And I keep my promise. If you tell me a movie
Yeah.
shit, I'm probably not gonna see it. But
God.
you know, but overall, just Tom Cruise movies are overall really good more than not. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, but that's all I wanted to add into it. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, dude. No, dude. No, you said it perfectly, man. He makes movies for the audience. He makes movies for really like, for like, you want to see his movies on the big screen no matter what. He doesn't make movies for streaming. That's why I think he held Top Gun Maverick for 3 years, man. This was coming out in 2020, and things got better during the booster. He goes, "It's not ready yet." He was ready because this isn't the time. And they really, I support Paramount. I support Tom Cruise and Joe Kosinski and Chris McQuarrie. Really, that they waited for Top Gun Maverick. That movie made almost $2 billion, and that was smart. That movie made so much money, but again, he believes in the theatrical experience. So yeah, guys. So this weekend, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 hits theaters. It's the seventh Mission Impossible movie. The movie, the franchise started off a little like rocky at first. The first two weren't that great, but I think with three, when J.J. Abrams came on board to direct and produce and write, he kind of like pulled a Fast Five, kind of reinvented the franchise, made it up to date, more unique, whatever. And then Ghost Protocol came out the year after, a few years after, and that kind of changed the game as well. Like they really reinvented the franchise midway through, which again was a genius move on all the creators' parts. J.J. Abrams, Tom Cruise, Brad Bird, Chris McQuarrie. It's really brilliant to me how they made these movies better and better each time. So as Joel said too, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. I grew up watching Jerry Maguire. Oh my gosh, let's go on again. Not Top Gun. I watched Top Gun when I was a kid, a little bit when I was a kid, but like again, Mission Impossible was a fan favorite. When I was a kid. War of the Worlds, what I watched as a kid a lot too. He's been part of my love for movies ever since I was a kid. So, there's an era where he has got a few stinkers here and there, but then he had Mission, he had the first Jack Reacher, he had Tropic Thunder, like Joe said. Even with a small role, he still kind of had these roles that kind of just like made the movie kind of bigger, larger than life, which is very special as an actor can do. So, yes, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Starting off with the good. There's a lot of goods of this movie, but there are some cons of this movie as well, actually. Where are my notes? Here we go. So first off, again, Tom Cruise delivers another epic, thrilling, action-packed summer blockbuster. Like Tom Cruise has his way of doing it the way he knows how to do it. It's another great installment to the franchise and shows that Tom Cruise still is the biggest movie star on the world today. No offense to Leo and Brad Pitt, but I don't think they know the numbers that Tom Cruise has when he puts up to the box office and critic reviews, if you ask me. And he knows how to really, again, he cares about entertaining the audience no matter what, whether it's Maverick, whether it's this. Edge of Tomorrow, Oblivion. He makes movies for the big screen for the audiences, no matter what. Doing the crazy shit he does, hang onto a plane, jumping off a cliff, doing the Halo jump in Fallout. He really gives a true immersive cinematic experience in the theater. But that said, though, I still prefer Mission Impossible Fallout and Ghost Protocol more than this one. I think you saw my out of theater reaction that I posted. I think those two had tighter scripts with a better pace, also with maybe a better story. But I definitely enjoy this one more than Rogue One, the fifth one, and 3, 2, and 1, in my opinion. Again, so with the pros though, again, the action, the immersive scope, the fight choreography is incredible. It's so well done for a PG-13 movie where you want to see stuff like John Wick, and The Equalizer, where it's a very rated R. It's bloody, it's more it's unfiltered. But for a PG-13 franchise, the action this is very crisp and it's very well choreographed. And it's like, okay, this feels like a true action movie. Next, I'm like, I'm gonna punch him in the face, and then camera cuts away. Again, if you listen to Chad Stahelski, who directed John Wick movies, he points out a lot of flaws in action movies, both modern and back then. And you look at them like, yeah, these are pretty poorly made action movies. I love movies that have some really bad action scenes, but you're just like, ooh, these aren't as good as they could have been. But I do think for the Mission Impossible franchise, they do a great job of making some really amazing, immersive fight and action scenes, no matter what. Again, ain't no John Wick if you ask me when it comes to action, but for a PG-13 rating movie, does a great job. I will say though, I think I told this to you, Joe, maybe I told this to Nick, maybe at the Indiana Jones screening. Chris McQuarrie directed this one, and Chris McQuarrie has been Tom Cruise's right-hand man for a long time now. Chris McQuarrie won an Oscar for best writing for great movie called Usual Suspects. Great movie, highly recommend that movie. And then he had a kind of a weird career of writing movies. Yeah, it's great movie, dude. It's really there's some problematic people now in that movie with Bryan Singer and Ken Spacey, but it's still a very, very well made movie. It holds up to this day. I mean, almost 30 years later, it still holds up. So I really do like his writing for sure. And then he wrote one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies, which was Jack Reacher, the 2012 that we all saw in high school with a big group of 20 people. One of my favorite movie experiences to this day. But he had some stinkers that no one saw, and no one saw, like, Jack and the Giant Slayer. No one saw that. The Tourist. No one saw that. Valkyrie's kind of underrated movie, but no one really saw that either. And then he was brought on to do Jack Reacher. I think he also wrote some of the script revisions for Ghost Protocol, which is my favorite Mission Impossible movie. Then Enter Tomorrow. So he's been basically Tom Cruise's right-hand man for all his scripts since Valkyrie, Ghost Protocol, and Jack Reacher, which is, again, Tom Cruise finds a guy he likes to work with. Awesome. So Chris McQuarrie now directed all the Mission Impossible movies since Rogue Nation, which is the 5th one. And I heard too, I don't know how accurate this is. Don't quote me on this. I heard different podcasts maybe a few months ago, around or maybe last year when Top Gun came out, is that there was a rumor that Chris McQuarrie was the true director behind Top Gun Maverick, because Joe Kosinski, who was Bill, the director of Top Gun Maverick, he did Oblivion with Tom Cruise. He did Tron Legacy, did a movie called Only the Brave, a movie called Spiderhead. And there's a lot of rumors that there was 2 different cuts of the movie. There was the Kosinski cut and the McQuarrie cut. The McQuarrie cut was the one apparently that we saw. It hasn't been confirmed, but it wouldn't surprise me. But I do like Joe Kosinski as a director. I think he's a great eye for telling great stories, big, larger-than-life stories. With that said, I do have a little beef with him as a filmmaker, because during COVID, Chris McQuarrie said, if you're an aspiring filmmaker, I'm paraphrasing here, if you're an aspiring writer or filmmaker, give up now, he said. He goes, you won't make it. And I'm reading that, I'm like, fuck you, dude. I was like, as someone who was writing stuff during COVID and thing was shut down, who gave you power to say that, if you ask me? And it rubbed me the wrong way. The more I read, the more I got pissed off. And he basically said, quit your dream. You won't make it. You won't make it. You won't make it. And this article really kind of pissed me off. And I was like, dude, I liked you as a filmmaker. I still do. But as a person, you're kind of a dick. And I saw...
Like, in what... Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. Please.
In what way do you mean that? Do you mean that in the way that, like, how Hollywood is staged out right now with keeping, the people that they know, like the regulars that they know, versus, giving the, the underdogs, the new people, the chances, like they're not going to get them, because they just want to keep using the same people that they already know of? Or is it like he's just being a dick and he said it in the way of, like, yeah, you guys aren't going to make it because Hollywood's already stacked?
No, he basically said, give up on your dream. It's not going to happen, basically. He came up as a dick. He came up as a dick the way he was saying it. Like, he was an asshole saying it. I'll try to find the article later. But the way he said it was very asshole-ish. And I said, what? Forget this dude. I said, you know what, man? I was very praising this guy for years with Jack Reacher and with the Mission Impossible movies. I was like, man, fuck this dude. And I said, you know what? I mean, go ahead.
But what I'm so curious is, like, how is he saying it? I know it sounds like he's being a dick, but I'm wondering if he's saying it in the way of, like, Hollywood's stacked, we already got all the people that we fucking already need, and it's going to stay like this for many years, or is he saying it as in the fact that Hollywood's not going to give you the chance, and there's already so many, filmmakers and everything, like, there's already so many actors, just give up. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you're not going to get that chance. It's a 1 in a million type of chance. That's what I'm curious about.
I'm trying to find the article But I remember reading it, and it was just he wasn't saying in a way of like, we're just too full. It's like no, he was saying that you give up in your dreams, it's not gonna happen to you. Basically, he's coming off as like a pretentious douchebag, if you ask me. I'm sorry, McQuarrie, if you listen to this, again, you're a great filmmaker, but I'm sorry, man, you rubbed me the wrong way when you said that interview. That's just my.
Yeah, but there's always has to be a context, you know what I mean? You can't just say like you're never gonna make it. That's like that's like LeBron saying like you're never gonna make it as a basketball player no matter what.
Well, people do.
You know what I mean?
People who have power say that because they don't want their spot to be taken, basically, or like they want it all for themselves.
Well, yeah, I get that, but I mean like in the context of like we already have all the people. Like, there's not going to be a room for you. You know what I mean? Or is it just like... It's hard to explain to the point that what I'm trying to say is, like, are they saying, like, they're not going to make it because of how everything is laid out and how Hollywood is, where there's like, less chance of someone new coming into the scene? Or is it that, or is it the asshole way of like we're stacked? We got the fucking, we got the A team, like Michael Jordan Dream Team type of shit. Like,
I think
there's no way they're gonna allow.
We're stacked. Like, we're good. We don't want new. We don't want new talent, basically.
Okay.
That's what I remember. I remember reading. I think it was on Collider. I'll probably find the article, but it was like, oh, we're stacked. We're good. We're full. We don't want you here, basically.
Gotcha.
And I was kind of like,
and if it's that, then yeah, he's a dick.
I was like, really, dude? And I get it. I remember reading that during COVID, and I was like, it rubbed me the wrong way, man. It really did. And I was like, yeah, I don't like that. So now I watch his movies. I was just like, yeah, I see interviews with him. The way he talks to is like, yeah, I was like, yeah, dude, you come off as a pretentious douche. Again, you're a great filmmaker. You have an Oscar. Congratulations, man, for a movie from 30 years ago. Again, it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. But the way he said it, just I don't know. He came off as asshole. Like we're Hollywood's full. We're good. We don't want you here, basically. And I was like, yeah, you can kiss my ass. Anyway, with that, about the rest. With that said, back to my review. Again, he really, with my criticism of him as a person in the film, as what he said, he really does. He's a great filmmaker. He directs the hell out of this movie and this franchise. I think he, like him or not, I think he was the right guy to choose for this, as a director for the last few installments. Tom Cruise picked wisely. Again, he works with them well. Awesome. I mean, he came on Rogue Nation. Again, he wrote Ghost Protocol. He knows how to direct immersive action sequences that truly feel real. They feel exhilarating, thrilling, and have you want to see the entire time. Like, there's scenes that, again, I saw with my dad, and we both were like, I know for myself, I was like, oh man, like, I was buying my hand. I was like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. Again, it's why you see Tom Cruise movies. It's because of like, well, how crazy these stunts are. The way he shoots chase sequences, especially in Fallout and in Rogue Nation too, but this one too, he knows how to shoot amazing chase sequences that feel real. Again, no offense to Fast, I love Fast and Furious, but you can tell when some of those are fake for sure. The chase scenes in all the last few Mission Impossible movies feel so authentic, so feel real, like no green screen kind of thing. It feels truly like a real like chasing. Like, this feels like legit. Again, going back to Rogue Nation, again, Fallout. Now he's a very good eye and knows how to capture intense sequences through chase scenes that feel real and fun to watch. But again, they feel real and they're very high, exhilarating. But like they're so much fun to watch. Like there's 3 chase scenes. I was like, I'm having so much fun just watching these chase scenes. They're a little long at times, but man, I'm having so much fun just watching this craziness of like different cars, motorcycles. It's literally crazy to watch. There's some really cool fight scenes. Like, again, kind of how it was in Fallout. There's some like really intense, well choreographed fight scenes. There's a fight scene in this, without spoilers. Again, this is my non-spoiler review of this movie. There's a fight scene in a very, very, very small ass alleyway, like the smallest alley you can even think of. And it's 2 people versus Tom Cruise. And it's so like, you feel like claustrophobic while watching this. And the fight is crazy because it's 2 against 1. And Tom Cruise is fucking kicking ass. You're just like, oh my god! Like, he's like being beat up. He's fighting two different like assassins, whatever. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And it's really cool to watch. Again, claustrophobic for sure. But it's shot so like in your face. It feels like a real action scene. Again, McQuarrie knows how to capture these really authentic action scenes. Again, you said earlier, Tom Cruise is nuts. We know that. We love you, Tom Cruise. If you're listening, I still admire you as a filmmaker, as a creator, a collaborator. You are really a genius, my friend. The acting in this. You say what you want about TC, but Tom Cruise, he know in his personal life and the Scientology stuff, he knows how to own a role, whether it's Maverick, whether it's Edge of Tomorrow with Jack Reacher. He owns Ethan Hunt. This is his movie. This is his role. No one else could play Ethan Hunt the way he does. And there's some really impactful emotional scenes that kind of hit me different ways I haven't felt before in the Mission Impossible franchise, no matter what. I think Big Rames, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, they also work great as a team. I think a lot of good chemistry from them in the 5th movie, in the 6th one especially. Now this one, their dynamic as the unit, as a team, really works fantastic, and it feels really believable because you feel the history between all of them and what they've been through together in the past few missions, and you really feel for them at times. Yeah, without getting into more spoilers, there's one scene in particular with Benji, Luther, and Ethan that was a huge standout to me. It was a very serious and crucial moment for all of them as characters in the film, midway through the movie. And for these characters, it gave me goosebumps because of how well it's acted from their performances, and but what they're saying regarding the mission and how the IMF has impacted all their lives in different yet in same ways. And we never got that before in the other movies. Maybe a little bit in Ghost Protocol, but it was my first time them feeling like it felt like they're giving out this kind of emotional thing of like, here's why I'm doing this. This is why I'm here. This is why I joined the IMF. And I was like, wow, they took a break in the action and had this beautiful moment between all 3 of them. And it was a really good scene. I'm like, wow, they're bringing out such rich emotion that I haven't felt before from their characters in the previous movies. One of the villains, Gabriel, played by Isai Morales. He was the first season of Ozark. He's a great actor, if you ask me. Great villain, has a really good motivation. He's there for a reason. That kind of throwaway villains of like, yeah, okay, sure, he's there. He wants to bring pain and suffering to Ethan. I love that. We're seeing kind of like some of the villains I want to see people suffer, because I feel like, you bring pain to him, but like, what do you made him or her suffer? What would happen then? And I love that, because the last 2 movies had this one big villain with Five as a one villain. Where I was like, okay, after the new villain, the last villain in the last 2 movies is gone now. How they gonna replace him? How they gonna like follow up with the next villain? And I loved being proven wrong. I'm like, cool, they've surprised me. It was a great villain. I said, you know what, I'm on board for this. He was great actor to choose from as a villain. Sign me up. I'm there. Without giving too much to it, it's a very fitting subject. Again, this movie's been like in production for like 3 years, and like you said too, Joe, during that COVID, he was being yelled at the crew because they were breaking guidelines. This movie got shut down so many times because they were filming in the midst of COVID. The UK had really stricter guidelines than I think the US at times, and they were traveling all over the world to film these on set, not green screen, literally on set locations. And again, this movie got shut down because of COVID, because COVID outbreaks. People got sick or whatever, and like you said, he goes, we're trying to make this. We're the only movie right now in production, and people were violating the guidelines of COVID, not wearing their masks, not following the rules. And then that video got leaked of Tom Cruise yelling at his crew, and people were like, you know what? We support this because he's trying to keep people employed during a pandemic. You're one of the few movies that had the green light to still make movies during a global lockdown. And I think, he's crazy for doing this. He had a point. I think he's one of the main producers of this franchise. He's one of the main partnership with Paramount. He had every right to get mad, and I think I supported him on that because he was trying to keep people employed and keep everyone safe, especially. But with this movie, it definitely has a very fitting subject with villain motivation regarding AI. I won't say what it is, but I'm like, its timing couldn't be better because the use of AI in this movie is like, this movie's for sure made for this time very well. And I'm like, good on them. Out of all the movies of the franchise, this definitely felt more like James Bond-ish out of all of them. In terms of villain elements, world domination, cars, almost a Skyfall feel to it. In terms of Ethan's backstory, kind of background a little bit, I'm like, I like that. Again, it definitely lured into the James Bond-esque of the franchise a little bit. Again, 2 different franchises for sure, but this one for sure had more of a James Bond feel to it than the last few movies. Haley Atwell, who played Peggy in the Captain America in the Marvel Universe, she's a great actress, great new addition to the franchise. But before I get to my cons, I do think her character development in the first half and the first 2 acts is not as strong or as it could have been. And I was like, yeah, some of the writing kind of bothered me for her characters. I'm like, she wasn't interesting enough. I'm like, I kind of wanted to see more character development, more maybe growth, or kind of like more of a backstory. And again, I'll get into the cons later on, but it just did not feel like original or fresh. Kind of just felt like kind of bland. But yeah, I'll get into that on the cons. Cinematography and the camera work in this movie is incredible. Like how it was in Fallout. Same thing from Ghost Protocol to this. It's so impressive how the way they are able to capture these amazing action sequences, these certain shots, the angles and sequences is remarkable. Like there's some really things I'm like, wow, this is shot. Watching this shot, it's on IMAX too. Shot this so beautifully. I was like, this looks gorgeous, and like certain angles on certain characters, angles on certain fight sequences was remarkable. And I was like, this is great cinematography. Again, Tom Cruise puts in all the effort, and his movies too kind of follow. Everyone brings their A game, whether it's production, direction, acting, cinematography, everything. It's very well shot, and the cinematography is really gorgeous. I do like the callbacks to the first film. Again, I feel like these movies kind of like move on from each movie. I mean, I think 5 and 6 were definitely tied as one, but I think 1, 2, 3, and 4 are kind of not as brought as often. Well, yeah, 3 kind of was a little bit in 4 and 6, but this for sure had callbacks to the first one with certain characters. And you asked me, you definitely got to watch the 6th one before you watch this. You will be lost with some characters. I highly recommend watching Fallout before you watch this movie. As a part 1, again, this is the Reckoning part 1. As a part 1 and part 2, I felt fulfilled. I can't wait for the next one. I was hyped for the next one. I'm like, I wait another year. I was like, you know what? I'll wait as long as I need to. I can't wait for the next part. I feel like a lot of movies that are split up to like 2 parts, like, part 1, part 2, is a big setup for the next big movie. But I'll tell you what, Joe, this one feels like its own movie and can stand on its own. It doesn't feel like, this is a big part 1 for the part 2. This feels like a full movie of, again, it's a part 1 of a part 2 of a bigger story, but it feels like a full movie. That, again, we want that definitely left for more for the next one, but it definitely felt like it's like its own movie no matter what. And I was very happy that I left like, cool, I'm fulfilled right now. Can't wait for the next one. Now to my cons. First, 2 things I'm kind of interested by. J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot are no longer producing these movies. They produced 3, 4, 5, and 6. And J.J. was very involved with the production and producing and editorial of these movies, last few movies. And I said, there's no Bad Robot or J.J. Abrams mentioned in this movie. I'm like, I wonder why. Did my research. I was like, couldn't find anything about it. And this is what I truly think, Joe. And I wish Nick was here to tell him this too. No, I told him this at the Indiana Jones screening. I think Star Wars kind of backfired on him because he has not made anything in 4 years. He's been executive producing certain TV shows, but Warner Brothers, once Discovery bought Warner Brothers, they cut all his deals. They said, nope, you want too much money? Go somewhere else. And they left. So Bad Robot has no longer, I could be wrong, but I think Bad Robot, his company, no longer has a deal with Warner Brothers anymore. I said, wow. And I think because how divisive and how The Rise of Skywalker was not well received by many, he has not been working as much. So I'm like, this guy was the it. Like, he was the it director for a long time. And producer, too. Cloverfield, Overlord, Lovecraft Country, their Mission Impossible. Like, he had Super 8. He had Star Wars, Star Trek. He had so much for him going. And now we're almost done with we're midway through 2023, and he has not been producing or directing as much. And I wonder if Star Wars backfired on him of like, wow, we don't want to touch him anymore because he doesn't know what he's doing. I could be misreading this 100%, but I found it very fascinating that he's one of the main producers of this franchise, and he's no longer part of this franchise anymore. And I was like, wow. Another thing too is I wish Jeremy Renner came back. I do think that he would have added more to the team. He hasn't been in since Rogue Nation. They never mentioned him again in Fallout or this one. So maybe the next one he might come back. So I feel like they could have used him a lot as a character, both the last movie and this one. So I hope they kind of bring him back for the franchise. As I mentioned, Haley Atwell, great acting. She's a phenomenal actress. But her writing in the first act, in the first half, is so generic, and the dialogue and her development was just not there. I was like, this feels like another like kind of thrown in character. It just didn't feel like I just didn't like care the way I did with Ilsa, played by Rebecca Ferguson, who was a badass in the fifth one, sixth one. I liked her character. The moment I saw her, I'm like, I'm into this. I like her a lot. I still don't feel that with her. Again, two different characters, or even with Jane from Mission Impossible 4, played by Paula Patton. I felt way more interested in her character development as well as Ilsa's character development. I didn't really feel her development. Ellie Atwell playing Grace, her development at all. I didn't feel any very bland and very generic. But the third act came around last half where there's something happens that kind of redeemed it for myself. I'm like, okay, I'm on board now. But the first two acts, I was like, give her something to do or give her something better writing because this is really generic. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's like this could have been way better if you ask me. But it can be nitpicking, but third act for sure redeemed it for me. Again, like I said, too, not the best dialogue out of all the movies. That again, way better than the first few movies. Don't get me wrong, but 4, 5, and 6 had way better dialogue at times than this movie. Personally, this is my big cons come in. Side characters again had no point of being there at all. Similar with Indiana Jones 5, the henchmen really have no purpose being there at all. They're just there to hunt down Ethan. Like the CIA guys, played by Shea Wiggum and Craig Tarzan Davis, they're so generic. They go, we gotta stop Ethan. We gotta stop Hunt, guys. We're going after him. They have no development whatsoever. They have no true purpose being there. They're just thrown in there. They're generic CIA ops that are signed to track down Ethan and bring him in. And we've seen that so many times in movies. Like I said, you saw it so many times in Indiana Jones this summer, but in other movies and in this franchise too. I'm like, it comes to a point where my eyes rolled a few times. I'm like, this is so. I thought we're past this. It's so generic writing. It's so generic character. I want to see two guys. We're gonna stop you. We're coming for you. It's so generic, and I'm like, ugh. Also, the guy playing the director of National Intelligence really had no arc either. I was like, okay, he's just there just to be we gotta stop this program. I'm like, yeah, okay. Again, generic, and I think these movies are above this. Comes to generic writing, generic character development. But again, that's where I stand on this. Palm Clementif, who was Mantis and Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers movies. I was hyped to hyped to see her in a different role other than Mantis and the other movies. But again, she's so generic. Another henchman. She's one of the bad guys' henchmen that trying to stop Ethan. And again, she felt like basically a James Bond character, like Batista's character from Spectre, Hinks. She has like maybe 2 lines of dialogue in the entire movie. And there's no real important dialogue from her whatsoever. Barely speaks. And again, she's used as a plot device to like trying to stop Ethan the entire movie. And I'm like, man, we've seen this before in this franchise. We've seen it in other movies. Like it's generic henchmen, like stop him no matter what. Gotta stop him. You work for me. And it's like, come on, man. It felt reused. It felt generic. It just did not feel original at all. Don't get me wrong, the action sequences with her character are awesome. Her chase scene is crazy in Rome. And she's part of the alley fight that I mentioned at the beginning of the review. Crazy. It's awesome. But again, like the CIA operatives I mentioned, it's just frustrating because they really have no true reason being there at all. Like, if they weren't there, would have made no difference if you ask me. And they're just used as generic plot devices. Again, that's my opinion. Slow pace compared to the other 2 films. I think it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it definitely flies by more to the middle to the end for sure. But the first kind of had a slower pace compared to Fallout and Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol. There's a lot. Again, it's not as tight as I said with Fallout and Ghost Protocol. A lot of build-ups for the payoffs later in the movie. Don't get me wrong. A lot of worthy payoffs. But again, it just felt really slow at times where I was like, okay, I guess we're still in this. Okay, let's get on with it. A lot of long dialogue scenes. It didn't bother me too much. Yeah, I'm a little nitpicking, but some of the pace kind of bothered me at the beginning just a little bit. Okay, this is my other big one too. I want to thank Paramount Pictures and IMAX for hosting this screening, this early event screening. But come on, it was advertised in IMAX. Like, see it in IMAX. I saw a bunch of like featurettes and trailers that were like filmed in IMAX, like the whole like scene in the trailer where he's off the cliff, whatever. Once an Avatar screening, whatever, or a movie like that came out, and that whole sequence is IMAX. I'm like, I can't wait for this IMAX. The whole movie in IMAX is gonna be sick because he filmed Maverick in IMAX, Fallout was in IMAX, Ghost Protocol was in IMAX. So I'm like, I cannot wait for this. Again, I said featurettes, trailers, and IMAX ratio. There are 0 shots of IMAX scenes in this movie, and I was like, I'm waiting for it. It's coming. It's gonna come in that movie. The big chase scene, big train scene. Nope, nothing. Nope, nothing. I'm like, oh. Again, they were promoting the hell of this movie for like, see it in IMAX, like Top Gun Maverick, see it. There's IMAX sequences. So I don't know if they may pulled it last minute or because of Oppenheimer coming out next week. Oppenheimer has the 3 4 week this pull of IMAX screens, so they had that for a while. But I was like, damn, and I was like, man, there was no IMAX scenes. I'm like, and there were so many good moments of like, that would have been cool in the IMAX format, IMAX ratio. Nope, not really. So again, Tom Cruise is a big advocate for IMAX, like Christopher Nolan. I hope part 2 is in IMAX because I think Tom Cruise has some really cool movie moments that were shot in IMAX. Again, as someone who advocates for IMAX myself on the show all the time, in the bonus reviews and my their reactions, this is probably the first time I'll say if you don't see an IMAX, you're not missing much because there are no real IMAX sequences. So a bit of false advertising, if you ask me. But I just wish it would have been cool to see that cliff jump in IMAX. If you ask me. On this, White Widow, the character from Fallout, thought she was utilized way better in the last movie. She kind of used it more as a callback from the last movie in this one a bit of a plot device, bringing her back. But I think they kind of developed her a lot more for the part 2, so I'm looking forward to that. But I do think they just kind of wasted her as well. She was really more fascinating, her kind of arc and kind of lore. And Fallout, this one I kind of felt kind of wasted, kind of just there to like, oh, remember her from the last movie? So that's that. With that said, I'm giving this a solid 8 out of 10. Again, Ghost Protocol, Fallout are my 2 favorite movies. Ghost Protocol is especially my favorite Mission Impossible movie. But I don't think it's the best one. Top 3 for sure, but it's not as good as the other 2. I will say though, see this movie on a big screen. If you want to see IMAX, go ahead. You're not missing much. You don't see IMAX. See it in Dolby. See it in Prime. See it Cine Capri, whatever. See this movie. It's a fun summer blockbuster. I think it delivers a lot of things that we didn't get out of Indiana Jones and The Flash and Fast as well. See it on the big screen. Support this movie. Support Tom Cruise. He makes movies that everyone loves and audiences love. I think he makes movies with a big theatrical experience, and I'm really hoping this movie has a great opening week, a good box office run. I know we have Barbie and Oppenheimer coming out next week, but I truly hope this movie makes a lot of money because the box office, the movie industry needs this right now with 2 strikes going on right now, and when we need entertainment. I hope people see this movie and they got to support the way they did with Top Gun Maverick because this movie is a lot of fun and it's worth seeing on the big screen. Again, 8 out of 10 for sure. And now, next topic of the show. Joe, I've been talking for a minute now. My friend, what are your first top 5 rated R comedies of all time?
Okay. I think we should end the show with this instead of our one-on-ones.
Okay.
Because I think these are all great movies that people should put on their list if they've never seen them.
Love it.
Okay. Yeah. My top 5, it's gonna be We're the Millers.
Great movie.
Yeah. Of course, Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Step Brothers. I had it on my top of my head. Oh, I'm sorry. The Watch and
so
Hot
underrated.
Fuzz. So underrated.
That's a good one. Oh my god. Oh my god. I think mine is Tropic Thunder. All those movies are super underrated.
Those are so underrated, man.
Great
Like
list,
people really don't understand. It's so good, dude. People love those movies. I had to think about. I was going through movies on Google as you were talking because I was like, I was listening to what you said, and you did say like great things. I haven't watched the movie yet, but you were saying great things. But I was like looking through my list of like Tom Cruise movie and like R-rated comedies, and I was like, man, I already knew I was gonna say Tropic Thunder. I already knew, but I was like, the rest of the movies I have no fucking clue. It was between. And also, like, honorable mentions, I was thinking of, like, man, like, I don't want to say Superbad, because I do like Superbad, but it's not, like, one of my all-time favorite movies. So,
fair enough.
But, like, like, I was, like, thinking, like, man, I do love The Other Guys, and I do love, what's the fuck?
Hot Rod?
Movie? Not Hot Rod, which I do love. That's actually a great idea. I didn't even think about that one.
I'm sorry. I'm
the
breaking my
Nice
rules.
Guys.
Nice Guys is a good one
Nice
too.
Guys. the other guys and the nice guys I was thinking about, I was like, I love those movies, but those aren't my top five. I was looking, man, and one of the last ones, the two last ones where I was like, yeah, these are the two movies, which was Hot Fuzz and not Step Brothers. What else did I say? What was my fourth one? I said,
You said Hot Fuzz, and you said I'm blanking out. I just forgot too now. You said Hot Fuzz, We're the Millers, Tropic
We're the
Thunder.
Millers, Tropic Thunder. Oh yeah, The Watch. The Watch and Hot Fuzz were
is
my
so
last
good. The
two.
Watch is so underrated, man. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, 10 years later.
Both those movies are so underrated. Because, oh my God, Simon, what was his name? Sean Pegg.
Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg? I
Yeah.
thought it was Sean Pegg.
I Shaun of the Dead you're thinking of.
Oh, okay, I'm dumb. Simon Pegg, his movies are so funny. You know, I'm glad he's doing more like serious movies because he overall is just an amazing actor as is. But like
He's great.
where he
Mission
came
Impossible.
from, yeah, his characters always are so funny and so great. Like I'm pretty sure people forget that he was in Star Trek as well. I
He's
believe.
so
Yeah, he
good
was
as
in Star Trek.
Scotty. He's so good as
Dude,
Scotty in Star Trek. Oh,
He's
it's perfect casting.
so good. He's so good. But overall, just like people really don't understand how such an amazing actor he is, and like the depth of comedy that he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's so good with comedy movies with him and his friend always writing. Now they're doing their own things, but like
I know.
when they wrote comedies together, like dude, me and you would die laughing in theaters. Or like
Yeah,
when
dude.
we like got the DVD, we would die laughing because I saw Shaun of the Dead and that was hilarious. Me and you talked about it, and then Hot Fuzz was coming out. We were like, "Go, we have to go see this movie." And sadly, we didn't because we had a lot of shit going on. But you know, like my family got the DVD, and God, I always cry laughing because it's just how ridiculous that movie is.
So good.
But
Edgar Wright,
he
man.
does, yeah.
Edgar Wright too, dude. Fucking awesome filmmaker.
He really is, yeah. But overall, just like him in other movies is so good. You know, I feel like he's such an underrated actor because he really has like talent. He really does. So to see him come this far is just always makes me very happy to see.
It's so dude. Simon Pegg. Yeah, my dad showed him. I remember my dad showed me Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I just love those movies. And I saw as a kid. As a kid, teenage. Showed me both those movies. I loved all those movies. I love The World's End as well. And I remember my dad and I went to go see out here in Phoenix. We have in Chicago too. Called the Alamo Draft House, and they show old movies all the time, like these movie parties, like kind of cool screenings. And they brought back Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and I went back from college to my parents' house to go see both Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz theaters with my dad. And it was just so much fun because it was like we love these movies so much, especially Shaun of the Dead is one of our personal favorites. And it was just fun seeing that big screen. I'm like, oh, this is like why we love these guys so much because it's so funny. Him and Nick Frost, Edgar Wright, they're a brilliant trio of like writers and filmmakers. The whole Cornetto trilogy, Hot Fuzz, World's End, Shaun of the Dead, it's a perfect trilogy. It's just great movies. The Watch is so underrated. For that movie, 10, 11 years ago, that movie gets so much hate, and we don't get that. I do not understand how much the hate of that movie has because it's so funny. It's so funny, and it's so like it's see four guys, grown ass men, in the neighborhood watch fighting aliens. It's funny. It's a good.
Yeah,
it's go ahead.
It's just absolutely hilarious to like see, and me and you quote it all the time, especially like when I play games and like I fuck somebody up, you know. Besides my famous saying that I used to always say, now I don't say as much because you know I've been getting my ass kicked in Apex. But like you know, like well, I'll be like, "Fuck you, Chucho."
And no one got that reference but us, and growing up too. It was always funny. We're like, "Yeah, fuck you, Chucho," and literally no one got that reference but us.
No one got that reference because me and you went to go see that movie, and we died laughing.
So
like
funny.
we're in tears, and that movie still brings me to tears. Like it's so ridiculous,
So
and
funny.
it's so
So
great. Ben
underrated.
Stiller, Vince Vaughn, you know, Jonah Hill,
Richard Ayoade.
Richard Ayoade, yeah, like they had such great chemistry, you
They
know.
really
They
did.
all came from like such like with Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller, like it's understandable because at the same time they were coming through in movies and doing comedies, you know, and stuff. And I'm pretty sure they were friends before this movie. But you know,
Yeah, they were.
but like all of them coming together of different generations and different comedy type backgrounds to come together and make this movie for what it is absolutely awesome because you it's just a non-stop laughter and it's such a creative movie too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
it's
so
so
creative
creative.
for like it's not just like your just typical comedy. Like the movie itself and the story itself is really intriguing, and I love those movies.
So
They
good.
always crack me up. Same with Tropic Thunder, Where the Millers, and how the fuck did I forget my fifth movie? Step Brothers.
What's up, those?
You
Yeah,
know,
classic Will
you
Ferrell,
got yeah, classic Will Ferrell and Danny McBride. Yeah, not Danny McBride.
John C. Riley,
No, Quincy Riley, sorry.
John C.
Fucking
Riley.
mixed
Yep.
people up. John C. Riley.
Riley.
I'm not good with names, people. You should know this by now. John C. Riley.
You've only listened to the
John
show long
C.
enough,
Riley.
yeah.
You know, they both got poofy hair. You know, tomato. John C. Riley, who I do love, is such a just overall just such an amazing actor as is. So yeah. But those are my five. We talked long enough about them. Let's go to your top five.
My top
already
five?
comedies.
All right, top five. This was tough. I went through a lot of lists, and I was like, oh, I think I'm off. So again, it's not any order whatsoever, but I'm gonna go with I Love You, Man. It's a personal favorite of me and my dad's. Like we'll quote all the time to each other, no matter what. Paul Rudd, Jessica Biel have fantastic chemistry. It's a really cute bromance movie. It's super fun. Again, I saw Twitter Zeta recently, and she loved it too. It's such a funny movie. A lot of heart. It's really cute. Again, for a rated R comedy, it's a lot. It's raunchy at times, but there's a lot of heart to it. And the chemistry between Paul Rudd and Jessica Biel was fantastic, and a great soundtrack as well. I'm going to go with Shit Out of My League, which is a super underrated comedy that I guess no one has seen but us, I feel like, too. It's about four friends who work in TSA in Pittsburgh. One guy is played by Jay Baruchel. He's this kind of scrawny, nerdy guy. You know, he's a decent looking dude. Nothing wrong with him. He's just kind of just like a little bit of a loner. He's the most beautiful girl working TSA one day. She's traveling to New York, whatever. And like he's like, oh, she's so beautiful. She's out of my league, whatever. And like they somehow like reconnect. When he finds her phone at the TSA, he brings it to her at an event later on in the week, whatever, and they hit it off. And he goes, no way she likes me. I'm a 5, she's a 10, or whatever. And just seeing them kind of like interact, because again, he just like didn't lack confidence, but like again, this girl was beautiful too, and all his friends, her friends are like, really him? No way. His own friends played by T.J. Miller, who I love, met him multiple times. He was just saying, come on, bro, we love you, but no way. This will never last. And it's really cute seeing him kind of like both of them kind of like tell their friends of like, no, we like each other. It's going to work. And it's a lot of heart. It's super funny. Some of the funniest things ever I've heard in that movie. And no one saw the movie that came out originally. I own that movie on both digital and Blu-ray. I just love this movie so much. It makes me so happy when I watch it. It's a very funny movie you can put on no matter what. It'll cheer you up. It's a lot of heart. It's very cute. And some really funny moments that made me bust out laughing to this day. I love that movie so much. It's just so funny.
Yeah. It almost happened to me, by the way.
Oh, yeah. By the way, speaking of what, like last night,
we're not going to explain this story. We're not going to go death, but it almost happened to me, and it was stolen right from under me.
if we get to make our TV show that me and Joe have been writing for the past 4 or 5 years, you'll see what happens. But it's very similar to the movie's very similar to what happened to Joe a few years ago. A couple years ago. So
apparently, we had the real life Three Stooges in our life.
That too.
And they ruined everything, and it makes me so angry. I explained this story to my homie Ashley and Kim, and they're like, "Damn!" I was like, "Yeah, no, it still makes me angry and all this shit." Anyways,
we'll tell that story on our show one day if we're lucky enough.
Your parents listen to this. I don't think I want to tell the story. My mom will be listening one day. I don't know. We'll see. We'll think about it. Maybe.
another podcast story.
Yeah, maybe we'll make a side podcast. We don't know.
All right, for number 3, I'm going with Tropic Thunder as well. So now you, me, and Nick all have Tropic Thunder and this on our list because Tropic Thunder is a perfect comedy. It's funny as hell. It's unapologetic. There's some fantastic performances. Not just Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface, because again, they're making fun of actors thinking they can do that basically. Because so many actors understand, like, I can play this person, I can do this. And this, again, maybe not so much nowadays, but back then, actors thought they were invincible. Like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. And that movie is so smart because they're saying how stupid actors are thinking they can do this. And Downey Jr. really just steals that movie to this day. People have no problem with that. I mean, they're probably the younger generation probably does because of it was so sensitive. But
yeah, certain people do have.
Certain people do.
A lot of the black community, like
Jamie Foxx says
Jamie Foxx. I'm pretty sure Samuel L. Jackson too. No, they love that. And even still today on TikTok, like they show the movie and the black TikTok creator, and they're talking about how much they love it. So yeah.
Because again, if they were making it out of hate or like spite, like no, that would not have worked. But they were so
fun.
Making fun of actors,
black people.
Yeah,
but
that
it
would
was
have been bad.
Making fun of actors doing it because there was a lot of questionable things happened back in early 2000s.
Yeah,
and like 2000s.
They can play these roles when they couldn't. And the movie kind of shows that how stupid this is. And again, got him an Oscar nomination too, the same year Heath Ledger won with the Joker. So I truly think if he was nominated this different year than the Joker, he would have won Best Actor.
Oh, hands down. If it was like a year earlier,
100%, he would have won. That's number 3. Number 4. This was tough, man. I was going through my list. I was like, damn. I'm going to go with a movie called Top 5 that Chris Rock directed and wrote and starred in it. Again, I saw this movie with some friends in high school. Literally no one saw this movie. Top 5 with Chris Rock.
Don't remember it.
So Top 5, basically, Chris Rock's he's writing and directing this movie. He's playing this comedy, kind of playing a version of himself almost. He's playing this actor that wants to become a serious actor, wants to become like next big, like Denzel Washington kind of actor. But everyone knows him from his stand-up comedy, from his comedic movies, whatever. But he wants to be taken seriously, and no one does. And it's a great cast: Rosario Dawson, Cedric the Entertainer, Kevin Hart, Tracy Morgan, Leslie Jones, DMX is in it at one point. There's literally so many great Gabrielle Union, Anders Holm from Workaholics. There's literally JB Smoove, who I just love and adore. There's so many good actors in this movie. It's a love letter to comedy, love letter to like New York, as well as kind of like Chris Rock's career. And it's so well written, and it's super smart, and it's some of the funniest. I remember listening to that in high school. My ribs were hurting. I was laughing so hard. And again, it's an original movie, well received. I think Jay-Z and Kanye produced it when they were still friends. It's so well made, dude. Had great critic reception. No one saw that movie, and I always tell people, you gotta watch Top 5. It's hilarious. Go, Top 5. What is that? I'm like, no, it's an original movie that Chris Rock wrote and directed. He stars a kind of version of himself a little differently, and it's so funny. And that movie literally made no money. That movie made literally no money, and it's just a shame. That movie literally is hysterical. So please watch Top 5. It's so funny. Number 5 is gonna be tough. I had a lot of things I was going through. I was gonna do super bad. Might be up there because I quote that movie a lot with you. And I remember seeing that before I moved to Arizona. I sing that with you, the Midnight 10-year anniversary, whatever. That was fun singing with you, Sebastian, TJ, and Galliano. That was a lot of fun too. It's so many options. Yeah, it was hard. Super bad or Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, because I love Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle so much too. But I'm gonna go with super bad just because that movie to me, I watch all the time. Whether it's it's Bill Hader, Chris McLovin, because it's so iconic, it's so quotable. Like even 13 years. What? No, was it 13? No. How old is that movie now? 13. Oh wow, the movie is 16 years old. Wow, jeez. The movie is 16 years old and has some of the most iconic lines. I am McLovin, or chicka chicka yeah, or you know, I always say to our listeners, a little loud. Me and Joel, we go, McLovin, why? And literally, like, me and Joel will be gaming a lot, or just like talking to each other on the phone, and we'll go, McLovin, why? Come back! And we'll just crack up laughing. And when we saw that in the 10th year anniversary screening, we were just busting out laughing. And Joe, am I wrong? We'll be playing COD, we're playing Xbox together, and we'll go, McLovin, why?
Oh yeah,
McLovin,
because so. Was it? I think like you were running away the first time we said it though, and God, I think one of us was running away, and like one of us goes, "McLovin, come back! Why?" Oh, because of the we're playing Warzone, and the smoke was coming, and someone didn't come out of the building fast enough, and so we did. We drove off without the. We just go.
McLovin, why?
Why? Come back! He's the fast. He's so fast.
He's the fastest kid alive.
Fastest kid alive.
It's so funny, and literally like it's so quotable to this day. So it was a hard tie between that and Harold and Kumar. But if I had a number 6, it'd definitely be Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. That movie is very special to me too, because it's so funny. It's so relatable too. Like you're just got the munchies, or if you're hammered, you want some like really good food, but like you go on a mission to find it. We've all been there.
Oh my God, we've all been there. We've been there way too many times.
Too many times, man. Those like the post club, post bar, you're hungry for something. You want that really special meal that you're just craving so badly. That literally is Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And it's Cal Penn and John Cho are just perfect together. They're so funny. 2 and 3 are funny too, but the first one is very special, and it's so original, and it's so well written because it's so, again, low budget, but it's so relatable in so many ways. And Neil Patrick Harris playing a straight dude is hilarious, who was like obsessed with cocaine and sex and hookers. It's so funny. It's the thing where he goes, "Did he just steal my car? Did Doogie Howser steal my fucking car?" And he goes, "Yes."
I think that movie was the reason why he was able to play Barney.
100%. 100%.
If he never played that character, Barney would never have happened.
Oh, for sure not, dude. Because everyone loved him, and that was a cult. Again, we were too young when that movie came out, but it was a cult classic. No one saw that in theaters, but like the love for that movie was so strong, they made 2 more movies, and everyone loves Harold and Kumar. And there's a scene that cracks me up every time I see it, where he's in the prison when Harold is in the prison, and he goes to the black dude. He goes, "What are you here for?" He goes, "For being black." And then he goes, "What?" He goes, "Yep. I was sent." He goes, "Man, I was at home reading my book, and they said he goes, that call about murderer in like West Village. I've never been to West Village. I was sitting home reading my book." And like you see Kumar try to break Harold out of jail, and like the cops come in with the different guy, and they go, "The blood is trying to escape." He goes, "I'm just sitting here." Sitting here again, dude. Again, was racially profiled and was just thrown in jail for no reason whatsoever. Go get him. They completely ignored that. Harold Kumar trying to break out of jail. First off, get him. He's got a weapon. He goes, "It's a book. All right, secure the book. And he goes, the cops reading the book. He goes, "What is this shit?" They go, "We'll teach you to read."
God dang it.
And it's so funny.
Man.
I watch it all the time. I say it all the time. And it literally gets me in tears because it's so funny. And the actor's a really good actor too. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to find the name. And it's the way the guy plays it. It's so funny because he's again thrown in jail because he was black, and he was just again racially profiled, and he's sitting there reading the book, and he's trying to escape, but there's ignoring the fact that Kumar trying to escape prison. Gary Anthony Williams, who was in the Boondocks, he's in a lot of stuff. He Workaholics. He was also in Philadelphia. He's a working actor. He was the Internship. He's been in a lot of stuff. That he's a really good actor. And that he steals that scene when he's in jail, and it's so funny. But man, I love that movie so much too. So that'd be my 6th one. But I have a lot of other ones too, mentioned down the road. But before we close the show, Joe, favorite Tom Cruise movie for our audience?
You will never guess my favorite Tom Cruise movie. Would you like to take a crack at?
Okay, I'm gonna guess the genre first. Is it sci-fi?
No.
Okay, good one. Okay. Let me think. Are we young Tom Cruise or are we recent Tom Cruise?
Younger Tom Cruise, I'll say that.
Okay. All right, I have a wild guess.
Okay, go ahead.
Guess. I could be wrong. I have two guesses. What's my first one? Is it Risky Business?
No.
Okay, second one. Now I'm tapping out for this. Rain Man.
Nope.
Fuck, I lost it. All right, what is it?
Interview with the Vampire.
That's a good. Wow, deep cut, Joe. Deep cut. That's a
Dude,
good.
I love that
wow.
movie. Not gonna lie, that is very much so like considered a girl movie, which it really shouldn't.
Wow.
Because that movie was astounding with Brad Pitt and everything. Like that movie was such a deep, like so deep,
Deep cut,
and
bro.
just such a different,
Wow.
so different for what movies were coming out at the time, especially a vampire movie, you know. And
Great
it's
cast
just
too.
yeah, it was such an amazing cast, and the young girl who played the little girl in the movie, she did phenomenal. She did phenomenal.
Wow.
Everything about that movie was so good. So yeah, that's a movie I truly do love, honestly, and that's my favorite Tom Cruise movie, just because of how.
Wow.
Because I do love drama and thrillers, I really do.
You do. You
And
do.
that one was just that the story, the writing, the acting, everything about that movie is just so perfect. So Interview with the Vampire. I was looking through my Tom Cruise movies and I was like, man, this is good, this is good. And then I saw that, I was like, that's it.
That's
I was like,
wow, dude. Deep cut, Joe. I'm very impressed.
told
Actually,
you would
deep
never have
fucking cut.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
dude. I
told
was
you
thinking
would never
maybe.
have guessed it. I'm pretty
Wow.
sure like all our viewers are gonna be like, what the fuck? Because
Wow. Deep
I don't
cut.
give out that atmosphere. Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so good. They made a show which I haven't watched yet. You know, with the singer and the guy from the Game of Thrones who
Thrones.
played
Okay.
Gray Rat. He's also a singer. Gray Rat. I almost said Gay Rat. Gray Rat. I think that's his name. Anyways, he's really good. They did a show, so definitely need to check it out when I am in the headspace for it. But yeah, that movie is just astounding, and Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise and everyone in it just did such a phenomenal job. The writing, the director, like the production, that movie, whew, so good, so good, such a classic, and I feel like more people need to watch it because it was so good. Yeah,
Wow.
especially newer generation. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Deep. Yeah, I'm impressed, Joe. That's a good one. Deep cut, man. I like that deep fucking cut. But well, man.
Thank you, my guy.
That was. I'm very impressed. Okay, let me
Yeah.
think of mine. Let me think of mine now. I mean, I did say last episode we did our what sequels that we wish could have happened. I definitely said Edge of Tomorrow, and I love that movie so much for so many different reasons. But I might.
That's
Maybe I
a
should
good
get,
movie.
maybe I should. Maybe I should get. I want to give him another one. Maybe Edge of Tomorrow.
It was between Interview with the Vampire and Oblivion for
Oblivion's awesome. Oblivion's so
oh
good.
god. So good.
That's why I wish we saw the IMAX. That was all from the IMAX cameras, and that
Oh,
would have been
dude.
sick, dude. That would have
Edge
been
of Tomorrow and
sick.
Oblivion and IMAX, I fucking loved it.
Dude. I want to say Edge of Tomorrow. Tropic Thunder, yeah, but it's not only his movie. He's good in it,
It's
but I won't
not
say it's
his
his movie.
yeah. That's why
Okay.
I didn't count it in there because he did steal the show in Tropic
Oh, yeah.
Thunder with everything.
He steals the show.
Okay, crouching fuckface.
This
This is what we're gonna do.
Take a big step back and fuck your
And
own
fuck your own face.
Because I'm talking scorch earn, motherfucker.
We
I love
do not
that
negotiate with terrorists.
terrorist. I'll start clapping. He goes, "How about I send you a hobo's dick instead? Go to town, man. Go to town.
Go
He goes,
down.
He goes, as always, go fuck yourself."
And it still
His
blows my mind
dancing.
that that was Tom Cruise.
It's
Oh my
smart,
god,
like,
the ad, yeah.
dancing him
I
and
did
Bill
not
Hader.
know. Dude,
same
him
here.
and Bill Hader are
They're
such great
so
duos.
funny.
I want to see them in more shit together because Bill Hader's just so hilarious, man.
At the end of the movie, he goes, he goes, man, you deserve it. And Miller goes, really? He goes, no, dickhead. A
No.
nutless monkey could do your own job. But you know, so it's like, dude, it's Tom Cruise the entire time with the fat hands and like the hairy chest and like the prosthetics. You're like, I can't
Didn't
even
he
do
ask
Tom
for the
Cruise.
big hands too?
Yeah,
Didn't he was like, yeah.
You gotta watch. There's an interview with Conan O'Brien that Dave and I both watched. So Conan brought on Tom Cruise like before COVID, like when Top Gun was supposed to come out originally, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and he brought Tom Cruise out just himself, and literally and Conan says, "Listen, man, I gotta tell you this right now. You as Les Gross from Top Thunder is perfection." The crowd goes crazy, and like Tom Cruise is smiling, like he's appreciating it. And he goes, man, like. And then Conan asked, like, yo, why did you pick this movie? He goes, I love Ben Stiller so much. I'm good friends with him, whatever. And I said, all right, I'm going to do this. And he goes, but I want to have fat hands. And apparently, he said, Ben Stiller goes, no, just be you. And then Tom goes, no, Ben, I'm telling you, I got to have fat hands. I'm going to dance. I'm going to dance. And he tells Conan that, like, he took, like, weeks of, like, hip-hop dance classes, too, which is so funny. Hearing that,
he's so crazy. Tom Cruise is
only him, dude.
Nuts, but
And-
you can't stop loving him. Like, him showing up in random movies is always hilarious. Like, what was that one comedy movie where like he made fun of himself on Oprah show years ago?
Oh,
Remember that
yeah,
interview
dude.
where he's like laughing crazily and shit?
He's hopping on the couch. That was the wild Tom. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that was,
and then him and Ben Stiller did that on Friday. What was it? Yeah, Saturday Night Live.
yeah,
Where Ben Stiller was him and they're laughing together. And shit.
that was funny. Yeah, and it was pretty,
That-
a pretty spot on impression of Tom Cruise too. He was pretty spot on.
Oh god, yeah.
So funny. Okay, so I'm gonna go something different. I'm not gonna do Edge of Tomorrow. So I said that last episode. I'm gonna do Collateral with Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. Collateral is a different movie for Tom Cruise too. This was a different movie. It was his movie, but it was Jamie Foxx was kind of like the leading man. And I was one thing. This movie is awesome. It's 2004. Michael Mann, who did Heat. I mean, so many movies. Like literally, fantastic director. Jamie Foxx lives. It's 04 L.A. Jamie Foxx is a cab driver. You know, typical dude. He was working hard to get his own business, trying to get out of the cab service life, whatever. And then one day he picks up this passenger played by Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has a very different look. He's like gray hair, gray suit. It's this was like very different kind of Tom Cruise, like crazy action stuff. And Tom Cruise says, "Hey, you want to make $1 million tonight?" Hey, it's a Jimmy Foxx goes, "Yeah, what's the catch?" He goes, "Just drive me to 3 locations. That's all I asked for." Jimmy goes, "Okay, sure. $1 million for that? Cool, I'll do it." Jimmy Foxx is waiting for him at one of the stops. Boom, body falls down. Oh my god. Turns out Tom Cruise is a hitman, and now he hired Jimmy Foxx, keeping him hostage without him knowing. And it's a really good thriller. He put Jimmy Foxx through the fucking ringer, and it's so underrated. I mean, I think it had a 4K remaster, maybe like 10th anniversary a few years ago, and it's such a good movie because it's different for both Jamie and Tom Cruise, and they work so well together, and it's a very, very different movie. But it keeps you engaged. It's thrilling. It's heart-pounding at times. And it's a very, very great movie that I think no one really talks about as much anymore. Collateral. So, again, I love Tropic Thunder. I love Mission. I love Jack Reacher. I love Edge of Tomorrow. I would say Edge of Tomorrow I would, but I think I love Collateral because it's really underrated movie that kind of goes under the radar for Tom Cruise, Jamie Foxx movies. It's fucking awesome. And I highly recommend Collateral. So, that's my favorite Tom Cruise movie because it's awesome. So good, dude. I had a DVD. I think I gotta buy the 4K. Probably looks amazing in 4K. I gotta watch that.
Oh yeah, that
cool.
is a good movie. That's actually a good one. That one is really good, and I feel like that one's not talked about now.
No, never, dude.
Especially,
never
talk about. I never hear people bring that up. I completely forgot about that movie. Not gonna lie. So that's actually a really good pick, honestly.
It's streaming on Paramount Plus and Pluto TV, guys. Definitely worth the watch if you have those streaming services. Pluto TV is free, so watch that. It's free. It's free TV service. But Paramount, yeah, it's on Paramount Plus as well. I almost said Jerry Maguire because Cuba Gooding Jr. goes to ASU, and then my virtual graduation because of COVID, I took a line from the movie where he goes, "I went to ASU, man. I'm a Sun Devil, man." And I took that as my senior voiceover for my virtual graduation. So I love that movie too because the ASU ties to it. But I'll have to go with Collateral for that. But wait, before we close out, Joe, again, I want to remind our audiences again, we're giving away 3 VIP early screening tickets for Strays. Like I said, you can go to our Instagram page, Linktree, Google form, fill all our information out. You bring up to one guest, pick one screening, or you go to our website, Midway Avenue Productions, click the screening tab, scroll down, click the link under the Strays poster. Same thing, Google form, fill all our information, and I hope you guys get picked for the VIP screening. Take it away, Joe.
Yeah. All right. Well, he plugged himself. You can find my Twitch and Instagram on our Linktree, on our Instagram and everything. But if you guys don't want to do that, you can always find me at the OG Cuban Rican. I also have a TikTok. Haven't started anything yet because I do need to get a laptop and everything and get everything sorted. But do follow that eventually, and I will be posting more on that. A new game's coming out tomorrow. So definitely, we'll be streaming that very soon with some homies. Anyways, thank you guys for coming along with us on this auditorial journey through our opinions, rants, and just overall passion for movies, TV shows, and everything entertainment-wise. We truly do love you. We love you guys that you support us so much, that you listen, and to all the new people, welcome to the family and the community. And we are hoping to, continue growing this family and community. And just stay safe. Come back for the next episode. We love you guys. Have a good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Love y'all. Good night.